Okay, so welcome everyone to the July Elementor online meetup. Brief agenda, we try and start at 6 on time. Do a little bit of a welcome, what's new, today's topic, and then a bit of Q&A. And we try and finish before 7 o'clock or at 7, close to this. So we don't try not to keep you too long on this. Here's the organisers today. So myself, I'm one of the co-organisers for this meetup group, also for the WordPress Sydney meetup group. I'm a WordCamp mentor. I'm also a WordPress developer and educator. So I've been using WordPress for, well, since about 2007, 2008. Mostly kind of what I call backend. I know everything's kind of meld together these days, but I'm mostly happy in PHP and backend stuff rather than the JavaScript and design element. But I'm glad to be able to talk to you guys about this subject today. John is 32,000 feet in the air on a Qantas flight at the moment, flying back to Australia, so he won't be able to join us. Or if he does, it'll be a miracle. Julia, do you want to just give a quick introduction who you are?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Julia. I'm based in Europe at the moment. I've joined Will and follow his work through because he is the main organizer of this event. So let's give him credit for that. Big applause. I like to follow in and be on his side whenever I can. I've been using WordPress for a while now, and Elementor as well. I'm a big fan. I have a small business on the side as well. I work as a web designer mainly for a big company, and yeah, happy to be here and meet all of you.
Thanks, Julia. We do have a code of conduct. I'll drop the link here in the chat, so you can order that. It's basically just be respectful with each other, and that'll go down really well. I'm going to give everyone the floor for a few minutes just to, say hi, who you are, what you do with WordPress or Elementor, and more importantly, what you're drinking tonight. I have my big cup of decaf tea, because I don't want to jack myself up too much with lots of caffeine, and a lovely glass of water. But I have a nice Merlot waiting for me downstairs after this. Ooh. So I am going to open the floor up. If anyone wants to introduce themselves, I'll just stop sharing this just now and just kind of raise your hand electronically or visually. Steve. Yeah, okay, Steve, go for it.
From California, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm drinking Coca-Cola to try to stay awake. And I've been doing this stuff for 11 years. And Elementor, I think my subscription started like 5 years ago. I checked it a few months back. I think it was 5 years ago. Anyway, so right when it first came out, I liked the name. It was probably the best when it first came out. We can debate whether it's the best at the moment, but it's great. It's a tool I use, probably build 80 sites with it. And I joined a couple months ago. I missed last month's, and I had Mike come, my partner in Thailand, to it, and he filled me in on what you guys did. So I'm back. So that's me.
Thanks, Steve. Anyone else? Hi, Lorna. You want to unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Yeah, no, I just want to say hi, Steve. I'm usually, I can relate because I attend a lot of events, including meetups in the US. And it's usually me up at 1 or 3 in the morning. So, yeah, and I've just been doing web design on the side, sort of side hustle since 99, and just have gone through a lot of transitions, but now with Elementor and absolutely love it.
Excellent. Thanks, Lorna.
I'm Lachlan. I think I was in the meetup group pre-pandemic and came to a few. I think it was a Melbourne meetup, and then sort of dropped away. But I'm sort of back for the first time to sort of get back into it, and it's great to see a local community. Local, even if it is across Australia, it's still good to see others and see what they're up to. So I probably come more from a front end design perspective, but also I'm deeply technical. So I always just want to get in and understand everything that's happening. So web design isn't 100% of what I do, but it's a big part of what I do, and I'm always just open to whatever new is happening and play around with it. So I've found for for quite some years now. Elementor is definitely very interesting. Got a lot of capabilities. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Lachlan. Good to have you back.
Yeah.
Stefan, you've got your hand up.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm just from Sydney, Australia, same as Will. I've been to a few WordPress meetups and Elementor in the past. I've used Elementor since 2018, and yeah, like Lachlan, it's a really great tool. I haven't really considered using another page builder since, and yeah, it's really sped up the workflow time of creating a website and customizing it. In my day job, I'm more of like cloud engineer at the moment, but I always love to dabble in WordPress, and I self-host my own websites at Cider. So yeah, and I'm looking at ways to make static websites as well from a WordPress install, because it increase the reliability and security and reduce the cost. So yeah, happy to network with people after that as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Stefan. Okay, no one else hands up, so let's get on with the talk tonight. Share my screen again. So I like to do a little roundup of Elementor updates, what's been happening. We're on version 3.14 just now, 3.14.1 across all the ones, so the paid and the free one as well. Sometimes they get out of sync, but with the AI stuff that's been launched, they kind of launched all that version 3.13. And 3.14 has got a few improvements as well. So in the free version, the new stuff that's been added is the image AI. So .13, they got just the text AI, but .14 has the image AI, which we'll have a look at tonight. You can also add widgets to the editor with a single click, which is great. I think Beaver Builder used to do that, and it absolutely bewildered me when I moved to Elementor. I was like, clicking on things and they weren't appearing. Like, what? So as well as drag and drop stuff, you can also just click on elements and they just kind of appear in the editor, which is quite nice. And lots of UI and accessibility changes. There's quite a few fixes, tweaks 27, was that 38 different fixes for that. So the Elementor Pro, what we've got here is, obviously all the free stuff gets included, but then the Pro, you've got additional stuff for there. So the big thing that's came out for the Elementor Pro is a carousel widget. So this is a section based. Is it sections? Containers. It's a container-based widget, this one. So it started out with, just pictures moving, and then somebody on the GitHub thread said, why don't you just like throw everything at it? So now a carousel can contain anything. It can contain another carousel in it. So you can drop anything in there, any type of like a nested widgets in there. So the carousel widget is becoming like a very kind of go-to dynamic type of widget. With anything be able to embed inside those. So I'll be interested to see where that goes with what people come up with, all the different things that they can do. But that's certainly the big one for the Elementor Pro changelog and just a lot of UI and accessibility updates for those. No beta out yet, so there's no 3.15 beta, nothing there. There is a roadmap, so you can go to their elementor.com/roadmap. I usually take a little snapshot of what's happening just now. So this is the July one. So we can see there's nothing in beta. There's a couple in progress, a couple of little things, and there's 3 things in the planning for that. So there's not a lot being added to that in the next couple of months. There was a lot of the hosting. So Elementor, they threw a lot of resources at the Elementor hosting over the past couple of months because it was severely lacking. So a lot of that's being cleared off now. So we should, if you keep an eye on this roadmap, we should start to see more development collab stuff coming through in the planning in the next couple of months. Okay, let's jump on to the Elementor AI, which is why everyone's here. Obviously, AI is the big buzzword of 2013 since ChatGPT came out. And pretty much everyone's been jumping on the bandwagon relatively slowly at first. Except over the last couple of months, I think we've certainly seen a whole the speed increase for people integrating AI components with WordPress and other tools. So as far as Elementor goes, here are the sorts of things that are AI-ified. I don't know if is that a word. So you can do things like generate text and modify the tone. So with things like that, with the tone, then You can come across as professional, you can come across as creative, as funny, as kind of, I don't think stern's there, but there's a whole different set of tones that you can apply to your different text, depending on how your audience is on the website. Translation is a biggie. They've really pushed that, and this is great for multilingual sites. So you don't have to run your content through anything else anymore. You can translate it. I have a couple of friends in Europe who say it's reasonably good. They didn't give a percentage as to how accurate it was, but they're fairly confident it gets most of the stuff done. But as of all translations, you probably better check with someone before translating your entire website and just clicking on the live. It does spelling and grammar adjustments for those, which is quite handy. I use the Grammarly service for most of my kind of content writing, and it doesn't come into the actual tool base within UI systems. So it's nice having that little component there in that. The big one that came in is the create original images. We'll have a look at that tonight. So you can create images using text prompts, and it's got generative image creation as well, where you can kind of circle a bit and adjust it. So we'll have a look at that later. You can write custom CSS as well. So just by a prompt, you can describe what you want to happen with a button or anything, and it'll try its best to write those. And that's the same with the HTML and for the custom code. Now, the HTML was okay. The custom code, I struggled getting it to generate proper code. We're talking about CSS and JavaScript here, not PHP. A lot of the times you describe what you want, and it's actually telling you, how to do that in Elementor. For example, create a container, add this, click on this option and stuff like that, rather than actually generate the code for it itself. So still things, I won't use the word flaky, but very early adoption things. So, if you're thinking it's just going to be, generate your whole website. If you watch the video on the Elementor AI page on elementor.com, you've got this guy, he's building his site, and he's doing all these things. It's fantastic. But, really, it doesn't work like that. There's a lot of experimentation as well, and it's not 100% working at the moment. Okay, as far as pricing, so if you try on 3.14 or 3.13, then you'll be signed up for a 1-month trial. I think it's a 1-month trial. It's certainly a trial period, and you get a certain amount of credits. So here's the payment price if you want to upgrade and do a payment plan. So there's 2 payment plans just now. There's a starter and the power. So the starter one is about 55 Australian dollars a year, and that gives you 18,000 credits. And the power one is 150 Australian dollars a year, and that gives you 50,000 credits. Now, it sounds a lot, but here's what the credits kind of break down to. So the text prompt, which is in one of the little UI fields, that costs 1 credit. A code is 1 credit, and the image is 33 credits. Now, there's a little summary here that says with the starter plan, you can generate up to 18,000 text entries or code snippets because they're just one credit, or 540 image requests, or kind of a mixture of those. Now, when I was playing around with this, I had real problems with the image stuff, trying to get it to create one. It might be my bad prompting skills, but I used about 10, 15 goes to kind of create an image. So, if you're using 10 credits for 1 image, then 54 images is not an awful lot for a year, if that's something that you're thinking about. So if you are looking to go towards a bundle, it might be worth kind of getting the larger bundle, just so you've got, that extra amount. But I'll show you tonight exactly what kind of problems I had. Okay, so we'll jump into the demo just now. I'll, oops, wrong way, I'll switch. Come out of that. Come out full screen. Okay, here we go. So you'll have to look at my ear for a bit because I'm looking at the other monitor. But here I've got a dashboard. It's just got a 6.2.2. I've got Elementor Pro installed in here. And I just want to show you some of the AI stuff so you can actually see exactly what it is. So here's a test page. I'll run that with Elementor. Okay, so a lot of things, and most of the widgets, if they have like a text type of, or like a text area type, and you'll see this little hint. This is the AI symbol, this kind of little diamond with the two diamonds up and above and below it on the right-hand side. So anytime you see this, that's all the bits that are AI augmented. That's probably a better word for that. So you click on here and it brings up a connection thing. So the very first time it will ask you if you want to kind of upgrade or start the trial. So obviously you click on start the trial and then that's it. But what it's going to do here is you've got your prompt window, but it does suggest some prompts here, very, very basic ones. Again, this is the AI augmentation is very much kind of prompting for beginners. So it's aimed at a beginner being able to create stuff, not like an advanced editor. So craft a catchy slogan, write a strong section, create a blog title for, so things like that. But you can obviously, create your own. So I'm going to say catchy title for an Australian space agency and generate text. See what it comes up with. Now you'll see here, it only comes up with one prompt. You can simplify the language. So you kind of reduce it down. You can make it longer or you can make it shorter as well. And here we've got the chance to fix the spelling and grammar. We can change the tone from here as well. So confident. Oh my goodness, that's one title, isn't it? So let's make that way, way shorter. Okay, I quite like the first one. So anyway, you can translate it as well. So anything, all these languages you want to translate. But I think I'll go back to the original one. So this dialog box is pretty standard for everything. So every time you see this AI button here, then you'll see this kind of dialog box that pops up. Yeah, there we go. Error. Fantastic. Okay, let's try that again. So catchy title.
And we have a question, Will, in the meantime.
Yep.
Bridget is asking if making it longer or shorter or other requests count.
That is a really good question, and it's really unclear. I had a look in the credit system. I'm assuming it's every time you click on here and it has to go back to the AI that you're using one credit in that context, but it is unclear. I had a good look at the credit terms and conditions and I couldn't pick out that for those. And again, that's with the image. So when I was within the image and I was generating all those things, I'm assuming it's one credit each time I'm generating a new image, but I will need to clarify that with Elementor. I'll do that. I'll ask the developers exactly what that is and get back to you. Okay, so that looks like a reasonably okay one. So that was just the title. You've got AI on the longer content as well. So the paragraph, the text editor widget. So you can generate entire blog content stuff. So I could say, right, let's see, 5 paragraph. About the importance of an Australian space agency to compete with China's space program and generate text. So again, with all of this AI, I wouldn't be just copying. I'm going to do that tonight, but I wouldn't just be copying everything and publishing that as live. Like all the AI, it's a regurgitation of everyone else's content. So it's not its own content. It's not alive. Oh, there we go. Let's try again. It must be busy tonight. So I think with anything, if you're ever developing your own new services, just shove the word beta somewhere on the interface, and any errors that come up, that's fine. You get away with it that way. Oh dear. I'll try one more time, and I'll move on.
I have a question in the
Yeah.
meantime. Is it is the AI in Elementor generated from a different engine, or is it in-house? Do you know that?
It sounds like it's in-house.
Okay.
It sounds like it's an in-house generated one. I don't know whether it's built on top of ChatGPT 4, whether they've got an interface on top. But as far as I'm aware, they have something in-house that's generating some of this. Okay, so it's actually came back with something. So let's just use that text, and that'll do. You can see it's not too bad. So it's grabbed some relevant stuff about China's space program, and having an Australian space agency would also provide job opportunities. So the actual stuff that comes back is not too bad. But again, as with any AI, you want to vet that and change that, and kind of probably run it through some other stuff there. Okay, so that's that one. Let's have a look at the image. This is the one that people were really excited about. So again, you've got the little AI button here, a slightly larger and different window for the pictures. This is the one that I spent lots of time on. I'll see if I can remember the exact prompt that actually got something. Let's see, what's it? Kangaroo wearing a space helmet on the moon. I think that worked okay. It's not fast either, as you can see. If you've been using ChatGPT, even version 3, it's not as fast as that. Okay, so look, this is not too bad. Again, we've got the kangaroo. We've not got so much of the moon, but let's just choose this one. There we go. So that's reasonably okay. Let's just play around with it a little bit. So once you've got your image, you can click on the AI to enhance that. So you don't have to generate with AI. You can also just plonk your own image in there and then bring AI to enhance it. Again, it's got expand image. So what that'll do is it'll make it larger. So if you want like a hidden profile image, if it just comes up with a square one, you can use expand image. I tell it horizontally, and it will refill and stuff in there. So it'll generate mountains and water and stuff and try and expand on it. It does not too bad a job. We can resize it here and there. You can ask for different variations for those. So it'll go away. It'll generate kind of different types for those with your prompt. But what I'm going to do just now is I'm just going to just test the generative fill. Now, this hasn't been great at all. We've got a stroke size, and it's rounded, which I don't understand why it's particularly rounded, not square, and that causes some issues, as you'll see. But let's keep it like that. I'm going to see if I can put an Australian flag on here. It really didn't know what an Australian flag was when I was doing the test. It came up with some sort of Turkish one. I'm like, what? That's definitely Australian. Describe what you want to generate on the area. Rectangular Australian flag patch. Okay, we'll see how it fares tonight. This took me about 10 attempts last time. It's just like, no, it's just not working. Okay, yeah, you can see there, it's just not come back with anything at all. Let's try one more go. Let's just do the whole thing. There we go. It might be just because it's got such a small space. Another thing is you can't actually see where the cursor is. You see, once it's all black, which is really bad, you should have like an outline or something on it. Again, these things will probably be fixed or tweaked. Rectangular. Okay. Give that one more go. I mean, the concept's great.
Can you just say Australian flag patch? Because maybe it's getting screwed up on rectangular.
It could be. Let's give it a go. Look, it's got something kind of reasonable there. I don't know what's going on with this one. Yeah, I'll give it one more go. But you can see how you can really kind of waste credits. If what was it? Was it Lorna was asking? Someone was asking about, if it's once or per go. I would assume it's per go. But you can really kind of, if you're late night and you're frustrated and try to get something work, you can bust through quite a lot of those credits. Okay, let's go.
Will, have you found that with the images, this one's almost like got an effect on it? Are they all like that, or are some more realistic?
Some are more realistic. Listen, it's not even got any patch at all. Okay, so yeah, some are more realistic. Let me just, yep, that's fine. And let me just get another image container down here. So there's several modes that you can do. So there's an image type. So there's photographic, there's background, so which kind of favors landscapes. There's digital art, and there's handmade and 3D for those. So for example, digital art is kind of more, you'd see like computer generated stuff for those. And then background is again kind of more pastels and landscapey type stuff. There are some abstract in those. Handmade is more like drawing, like cartoon stuff. So and the 3D is more kind of objects for those. So it kind of guides the style that AI is going to generate the photo in for those. And then you've got a style of type as well. So it's kind of like what's the one that everyone's using for images? I can never remember its name. But these are the sort of things that it tells you to put in the prompt, and what Elementor's done with the AI to just kind of put them in drop-down lists. So your prompt is here, but then you can stylize the type of way it's gonna generate. So let's do a cartoon, and we'll do.
Will, were you thinking about Midjourney?
Yes, that's the one. Yeah, koala on the moon.
Thanks,
Let's see. Yeah, Midjourney. So that's the type of stuff they ask you to do, ask you to put in the prompt when you're reading the help stuff. Tell it the type, the style for that. Okay, well, that's not too bad. There we go. It's not on the moon, but it's in the moon. Close enough. There we go. So that's a kind of, so Lauren, that's a kind of prompting image, different styles for the images. It's not too bad, but again, you can see I probably wasted like a whole heap of credits just for 2 images, but I'm sure, if you spent 10 minutes on stock images, you can probably get something close to that. If I was using this, I'd probably be going for stock images and then using the generative fill, if it gets better, to kind of just modify them, to remove elements and to add or kind of merge elements in for that. The last one I was going to show you is the code. So it's HTML code there. I couldn't think of any good examples to come up with this relevant, space agency, but it does come up with suggested prompts. So here, there's a Google Analytics event, fire on every button click. You can add there. There's iframe code to embed a Spotify widget. There's Google Analytics and Facebook Pixel, which is always a good choice for beginners, and embedding PDF codes in there. So, for example, Oh, I might have used up all my credits.
Yeah, it looks like you did.
Yeah, that'd be a bummer, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, for the demonstration, it's kind of bad, but
it is
great. I mean, everything else is fantastic, but I just, yeah.
Oh, that's bad timing.
But you can use the Elementor custom code to put your Google Tag Manager if you need, and you can just add stuff.
Yeah, that's right. It's just to show you. It's trying to show you different things that have been integrated with AI. So that's obviously for this page in HTML code. I'll come out of that. Let's just exit. Oh, there's one other thing. Sorry, I'll edit that. There's a CSS. So again, it's not going to work. But if you go to let's see, this button here, the advanced, and if you go down to custom CSS, there's also an AI button in there. And again, it suggests some things. So there's a hover and animate It's probably going to come back with it. Yeah, it's expired. But so you can do it on the custom CSS, which is going to be really handy for beginners, I think, because they'll visually know what they want to do, but probably don't understand how to code that. So there's that. And then the last place I was going to show you, but I can't now, is this one here is the custom code for here. So if you add a new custom code, you can then write the code and it pops up that one there. And again, this is only CSS and JavaScript, so it's not PHP. I got completely confused. I was asking it to do PHP functions and not really understanding that it didn't support PHP. But again, it's kind of a good place to come if you want to add little JavaScript things, if you don't really know what it is. What I tried to do, I'll come out there because that's pretty much the end of that demo there. What I tried to do was create some JavaScript snow that fell down, because I think if you watch the video on Elementor, the guy asks or prompts the AI to change the site logo between two different icons depending on the time of day. So he wrote this great big prompt that said between, I don't know, 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. have this, and between those others have this, and it generated that for him. So I tried to do the same with adding some snow, JavaScript snowflakes falling down between, after 6 p.m. and stopping at 6 a.m. and it got thoroughly confused. I had no idea what I was jabbering on about. So I think there's a lot to learn, and bear in mind it's beta as well. So you're probably going to see a lot of improvement over the next wee while with this. So let's jump back to my screen share.
We have a question, Will.
Sure, fire away with that.
The question is it also able to generate company post images? Not too sure about company post images, what that means.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that means, but you can see the image generation is very, very ropey, very, very beta. I wouldn't be relying on that for generating anything with expected high quality. Okay. Yeah.
So the other question is, how is copyright handled, or is it a free for all?
Yes, so that is a good question, and it is on the Elementor website. Sorry, let me get this in full screen. There we go. So if you're generating images using the generative AI, or no, sorry, before that with the actual AI, then those images are royalty free. Okay, so you can generate as many and you don't have to pay anything for that. So it's because these are not being taken from anywhere, they are actually being generated with AI for that. The larger context of whether or not copyright is infringed with AI is kind of open for debate. Google have recently, in the last couple of days, just said basically, if you're using any of our AI stuff or if you post anything online, our AI is going to gobble it up. Thanks very much. And I presume any companies that are using AI, if it's using something like ChatGPT as like an engine underground, there's various legal things and lawyers just now that are talking about whether or not, that it's legal, it's copyright, if it's scraping stuff from the internet. Some people are saying, well, that's free game because it's public, but is it? If you put someone on the internet, is it copyrighted or is it free to grab? So there's all these debates going on just now. I can't answer that. I think you're probably going to see some big lawsuits fight that out in courts over the next 2 or 3 years. Steph says musicians experienced this decades ago. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you ChatGPT was suspended here in Italy for about 2 months earlier this year because of this issue that we are talking about now, copywriting, but also privacy issues related to users using the tool and not really knowing where their data would be saved and how and so forth. Yeah. So it's now been restored, but there's going to be a lot of conversations around this topic, I believe. Yeah, I reckon so. There's going to be big lawsuits at some point, and somebody will come up with some legal framework. But at the moment, it's a free-for-all. Okay, so let's jump into just general. So that was Elementor AI. That's what's going on just now. You
can see some of the elements are AI augmented. You can see it's kind of a bit ropey. It's not working particularly great for those. And the credit system, you're probably going to gobble them up fairly quickly. But AI in general, for WordPress, so there's a bigger debate, there's a bigger going on for just AI in WordPress rather than just Elementor. There was a conference last week, possibly the week before, from Human Made. They're one of the big agencies, one of the big WordPress agencies, quite heavily invested into AI. And they had a conference track just talking about, WordPress and AI and ramifications and stuff like that. I'll put the link in here. So that'll take you at the bottom of that page. There is the YouTube link with all the libraries. Those are the topics. So accelerating AI in WordPress, next steps for AI in Elementor. We had a feature reveal for Uncanny Automator. I use Uncanny Automator in quite a few client websites, like big websites. And they have an OpenAI action now where you can farm off text to a ChatGPT prompt and get the response back from that. So we're starting to use that in some of our client stuff, which is good. There's a few things down there. Probably the best one was the actual panel session. So they had somebody from Automatic. They had a couple of people from Automatic and a couple other kind of senior people in some of the agencies. And they were talking about different aspects of AI. So they kind of went all over the place. And one of them was copyright. They're talking about copyright. They're talking about, for one of the big subjects was, well, how WordPress at the moment have got this Gutenberg project, and the next phase of it is for being able to cooperate with people. So they're kind of going down the Google Docs route for being able to, multiple people edit stuff at the same time, collaboration. And a lot of them were asking, well, AI has kind of come out of nowhere, really, and, is that going to affect how, the roadmap for core? Is AI going to, be going into core, or is it just going to be left out? If they do leave it out, is that going to leave WordPress behind? And all this sort of talk. So if you're not kind of too interested in any of those, I probably would watch the panel session because it's got some kind of good debates in there. So that's worthwhile. I watched definitely the panel one. I had a little roundup, had a little see what I could find with AI and WordPress. There's probably about 20 plugins at the moment, 15 and 20 reasonable plugins that integrate with ChatGPT and other AI systems. Here's a list of the top ones that I could find. So form system, formidable forms, Uncanny Automator was a big one. The SEO ones, all except for Yoast, which was interesting. They either have no interest or they're just kind of being slow. But Rank Math, All-in-One SEO, and SEO Press are kind of three of the four big ones. They all use ChatGPT now, or you can use it for content analysis, for keywords, for titles and meta descriptions as well. So that's out there. WordLift, an AI engine, an AI content writing assistant. So these are all using ChatGPT to help you write better content. So you can suggest stuff, or when you're writing, it actually comes up with kind of AI enhancements for that. Bertha AI, which is focused on image. So Bertha AI is a separate service, but it's got a WordPress plugin. So that can help you with that. And Code WP is more focused on the code generation. So CSS, JS, and PHP for writing short codes and plugins and widgets and that sort of stuff. So there's not a lot at the moment, but these really didn't exist 2 months ago. So we've went from nothing to 15, 20 plugins in just a couple of months, which is huge. So whatever it's going to be, in a year's time, who knows? But yeah, it's definitely AI is coming. It's here to stay. It's going to be integrated. So it's something probably to think about how you can use that in your business or with your clients, or just kind of keep an eye on it and play around with it as well. Steph's saying could have the option to use AI or not for SEO. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to use the AI, and you'll see with a lot of plugins that the AI component is usually going to be an upgrade or a paid component for that, because they've obviously they're building it on a foundational engine underneath that they're probably leasing from ChatGPT. for that. Yep, so that's it. That's the end of the talk tonight. I just wanted to run through the Elementor AI system, show you which ones are augmented with AI, have a little bit of a show you where WordPress is, or kind of debates about WordPress and AI. But really, I just wanted to open up to anyone here who wanted to, ask about, where could AI benefit in WordPress? Anyone's thoughts about that just now? I thought I'd kind of open up, and you don't have to, but if anyone's got any comments about that. Paul's got his hand right up. He's right in there.
Yep. Yeah, I was just I've been watching AI quite interestingly, having been a developer for like 40 years, starting way back in the beginning of time sort of thing. Watching all this AI come along, it's all very interesting. It's obviously got a long way to go, and thanks, Will, for showing us all that. It's interesting. I think there's a lot of buzz around it, but I think it's nowhere near production ready.
Yeah.
I'm watching you struggle, and I'm thinking I could do that in Photoshop in 5 minutes. So
Same. Yep.
Come back in a couple of years, yeah, sure, different story. But just AI in general and where it's going and the big thing, and I think my job's safe. Having worked with clients for, like I said, 40 years, their magic thought always was, I don't want to talk to a developer. If I had a button that could just do what I'm thinking, just press the button, do what I'm thinking. And AI is almost there. But just recently, I've had 2 clients. One of them said to me, for their new site, they said, I don't want it to look like the existing site. That was his entire spec. Yesterday I had a new client, she says, I'm way too busy. I just want it to be stylish.
Make it pop.
Make it pop. Logo bigger. I think it's safe, because they're going to hit the AI with, make me a stylish website. Yeah, okay. I think I'm safe. Anyway, anyone else's thoughts on that?
To add to the cynicism, I think there's a lot of executive directives that could be replaced by AI very quickly, because most of the time they're just like, what? So I actually think they're the ones that should be worried the most, because people who are developing tech can look at what we've just seen now and see that there's still a lot of teething issues, and people who are smart enough and can catch on as those teething who move with it will be safe. I actually have an industrial design background, so my product development of digital comes from an understanding of a history of physical, and you just see this is just another wave of technology. Every time there's a new wave of technology, they're talking about, we're going to 3D print. Everyone's house is going to be 3D printed. They said that 15 years ago, and anyone that worked in the field just laughed, and it's still not happening. Yet 10 years later, they work out how they can 3D print a bone inside of someone's body. Now that's problem solving, but it's taken them 15 years of human thinking to work out how to use the technology correctly. And I think that's what will happen here.
Yeah, I agree. There was a lot of debates on the panel about WordPress core, and they didn't think that anyone's going to lose their jobs, but there was a lot of talk about using AI for admin work, for analysis work, things like the WordPress, the track system with the bugs. Could you use AI to figure out bring bug requests together, or bring them together in some sort of pool that's going to allow people more efficient to knock off 4 or 5 related issues at once. So they're kind of looking at how they can use AI in the business to work smarter. So not necessarily replacing people's job, but just to make things easier, quicker, that they've then got more time on their hands to be more creative and put that into the product. So yeah, that's kind of where their thinking was. But I agree, it's very much a bandwagon at the moment, and everyone's jumping on it. yeah, there's legal issues, there's ethical issues. It kind of burns through the electricity of Switzerland every few days to run this thing, you know, because we had cryptocurrency and everyone was going about crypto mining was terrible because it runs all this electricity. Well, you don't want to see what the ChatGPT servers are using just now. But yeah, there's lots of questions behind it. I'm excited to see where it's going to go for that. But yeah, a lot of development, a lot of change is going to happen in the next year. So I think it'll be a completely different thing next year, if it even exists next year in its same format.
Yeah.
Someone was talking about, probably Steph, I think it was, about, I saw the article too, about using AI and Wi-Fi routers to see through homes, which is quite scary. So what they did was they trained an AI, they showed AI how to use Wi-Fi networks to identify objects and people in a home, and they trained it to do that, and then they asked it to go and find some, and it did. So that's kind of scary on its own. You know, whenever you touch on the personal note and privacy note, you know, it's not a good thing. So as well as everyone using AI for all this wonderful stuff, you've got to be wondering how these horrible people, hackers and stuff, are using the same type of tools. I know they're building in safeguards as much as they can for ChatGPT and the other ones, Bard, not to produce offensive or bad or nefarious type of stuff. But there's ways around. If you're a good prompt engineer, there's ways of teasing that information out bit by bit. So yeah, good and scary at the same time. Skynet being born, Steph. Could be. Yeah.
And we have a few tools suggestions from Steve and Bridget. Bridget sent a whole list of AI tools that can be useful. So you find everything in the chat with links and everything. So if anyone is interested, go on and have a look.
Cool. What I'll do is I'll post a chat on the Meetup page as well, just so everyone's got the links and stuff.
That'd be great.
You can save the chat if you hit the 3 dots right there.
You can, yeah, I can download it all afterwards as well, so it comes with the download for Zoom.
Oh yeah, right. I was just thinking they might want to have it on their hard drive, but it's cool. Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll call that a wrap for tonight. It's been quite interesting. Thanks very much for your thoughts on AI in general. Next month, we're back to pure Elementor stuff. So creating mega menus. We should have John. John should have landed and be back. So he'll be looking at the mega menus for that. I know it's been a big thing that a lot of people have been asking for. Personally, I don't like them, but you know, clients seem to do that. Okay, so yeah, thanks very much for everyone. Have a good evening or daytime wherever you are, and hopefully see you next month.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.